You know it always tells the truth. Someone's energy. Most people, myself included in this, I'm not 100% rid of my vices or anything. We want things now. We want to be stimulated immediately. So, it's funny starting the video, just sitting there, because I know that within that short time span that I would have just sat there, so many people would click off. But the people who are on the same frequency as me would stay and hear what a guy wearing 2 necklaces has to say about some stuff. Why am I wearing 2 necklaces, you might ask? Well, really, because I think it makes me look like a pharaoh. I think it looks pretty cool. Both of these necklaces actually are my father's, from when he was younger. My wedding ring is my grandpa Joe, my dad's dad, who I actually never met. So it's cool, I'm wearing something from my grandfather, something from my father, and then here's me. 3 generations all in one place. But really, it's so weird. I'm all generations. So are you. We all exist as the furthest point of evolution of our entire lineage, of the entirety of the universe. Would you believe it? The entirety of the universe has unfolded exactly as it had to, so that you in this moment could exist as its greatest evolution of creation. It's remarkable, really. And it's really remarkable too, just how caught up in our own shit we can get at times, That's actually part of the reason why I'm sitting on this big pile of dirt right now. It's a symbol for sometimes we need to dig. We need to dig some stuff up that was hidden. We need to unearth, get our hands dirty. And of course, what I mean is, when we do get caught up in our own bullshit, like stressing over stupid things or stressing at all, or when we react in a way that we don't necessarily want to react, or we overthink, did we do good enough? What did I should have said that and I didn't say that. I just had one of those moments too. I went to get acupuncture for the first time in my whole life today, and it was great. Obviously I did not enjoy the needle part. That was unpleasant. But once they're in, they're pretty well good. Just tune them out in meditation, and I did a couple different little things in that meditation. I shouldn't even say little things, they were big things for me. One of the things I ended up meditating on, which the acupuncturist so wisely guided me to do, so I was telling her, I realized lately I've been feeling a lot of shame and guilt around something in my past. And let me just finish about the dirt. The reason the whole unearthing thing is because whenever something is going on in your life that feels wrong, or you just feel stressed out or whatever it is, it's all because you need to look inside of yourself. You need to go beneath the surface. You need to dig up whatever it is that's causing you to feel this way. And it's never something outside of you, it's always inside of you, because you only experience life inside of your body, plain and simply. So I was talking to her about how, next Wednesday, next Wednesday is going to be one of the greatest days of my life. So I actually manifested exactly what I have been wanting to manifest for the last 6 years, in the sense of I have wanted to create a new version of human society, and the way that I've been getting the visions that it needs to happen to begin is that it will start as a retreat center. And lo and behold, I invented a couple businesses along the way. I've experienced quite a few things along the way. I've hosted meditation groups. I've become an expert subconscious reprogrammer. So many different things. And I've got to finish up this feng shui course too, actually, because I know that will come in handy. Is a bird in the shot? Well, here comes another one. That's a good omen for me. Birds are really good omens for me. I saw 2 of them. So that's cool. Experienced all this stuff and gained so much knowledge and wisdom and self-awareness through all the shit that I've been through the last 10 years that I've been on this journey. And I am creating a new version of human society, and it turns out that at the same time I've been seeking a mentor, and the person who owns the business, it's an inn and resort that I'm going, and it has a restaurant, it has a pool area, a gym, a sauna, it's the whole shebang, like, I don't know, 100 different rooms for the hotel aspect of it, conference rooms, a stage room, I don't know what you would call that, like an event room with a stage. And anyways, this guy, he has the essence of the mentor that I've been seeking, that I know I'm supposed to be mentored by. And not only that, the guy is aware. He's actually totally aware of himself. And not only that, but he wants to turn his business into a retreat center. And not only that, he wants me to be the guy to do it. Come on. It couldn't have worked out better. And so next Wednesday, I have the meeting to go and sign the contract and to completely change my financial life, my family's financial life, and gain the ability to affect so many people's lives. We're coming right out of the gate with a 9-day retreat, and then transforming through the integration of wellness technologies and a bunch of other stuff. We're going to be changing that place into the destination in Muskoka for a retreat center. It's going to be awesome. But I noticed there was part of me, when I would envision going to sign the contract, that I felt unworthy of what I'm asking for in terms of the trade value. And for a while I've been feeling that it always feels like there's something that I'm missing, like something I'm forgetting. There's always something I'm supposed to do that I haven't completed. And there's this lingering feeling that's been, I mostly feel it in the back of my chest, like right behind my heart, and actually in my throat as well. And so, I tuned into that and I said, I want to go into this meeting next Wednesday as the most confident, feeling worthy, feeling deserving, knowing it, version of myself, because I do deserve exactly what I'm asking for in return. And more than that, because I'm not going to justify myself. I don't need to do it because I know that I'm worthy. But this feeling has been there, and I noticed that, you know what, I've actually carried this feeling of never being enough, never having completed this thing, or always forgetting to do this thing, from the first time that I went to college. And the first time that I went to college, see, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know who I wanted to be. I just simply did not know this stuff. And you know, at the time, I was such a people pleaser. I had no voice of my own, no ability to make decisions for myself. And, you know, I say I was forced, but it was really just pressure that I succumbed to. From my parents, from my family, that, you know, I need to go to school. I need to go to college. I need to do something. That's just the way that people are currently thinking about things, you know, and that's totally okay. So I went into police foundations because I had no fucking clue. Everybody was telling me, oh, you'd be a good cop because you have a just mind and you have a big heart, so you could be a good cop. You're a community man. Okay, yeah, that sounds like me. Let's do it. And so I went. And I did not graduate. I did not continue on past the first year. I did drop out, and I've dropped out 3 times since, or 2 other times since then. I just could not give a single fuck about doing the work. I was so not invested in becoming a police officer at all. I just was not at all. Did not care. And the thing is my parents were paying for it, right? And the way that they were viewing it is, you're pissing away your future, you're pissing away your education, you're a fucking failure, all of this shit came up, right? And I get it. I totally get it. Because from that old paradigm of thinking where we don't understand that life is the lesson, life is the school. It's not going to some building where you're taught to become a particular person instead of taught how to become who you want to become. You're taught to become something else to feed the system. You know, I didn't give a fuck about it, but I understand that mindset because that's how things used to be. That's what it was, right? Is you graduated high school and then you go in and you get a degree and then you go in and you get a good job and then you get your house and you get a nice car and you get your shit and you have just that stable life where you're like middle class, which doesn't even exist anymore. And you know, that's life. You have kids, you fucking die. And you know, if your boss lets you take some extra time off work, that's a great year. And you know, I don't mean to insult people who genuinely love their jobs, but that's just not me. Working for somebody is just not for me. And I do apologize if I insulted you there. Because if you love what you do, all the power to you. Regardless of if you have a boss or, you know, whatever. And so, you know, the way I've always looked at it but never fully integrated energetically was that they were investing in me to become the person that I wanted to become, and that involved me not giving a fuck about the school because I simply could not give my heart and soul to something I didn't care about. And it wasn't that I didn't want to help people or assist people or whatever, or protect people. It was that I didn't want to become an agent of the government. I didn't want to become a police officer. I don't like the way that they think. I don't like the way that they talk. I don't like the way that they exist in society at the moment. And that's, you know, that's a conversation to have. I'm not looking to perk any feathers right away or anything. Or perk any ears. raise any flags. You know what I'm trying to say. So, you know, but because of this experience where my parents were paying for it and all this, and I had that societal programming that told me this is what you have to do to be a good person, to have a good life, is you have to do this. And if you mess with that at all, oh, you think you're better than society? You know, the whole programming was that if you don't go and do this, you're a fucking idiot. You're a failure. Don't you dare do anything other than what you want to do. Like, or don't do what you want to do. Do what we want you to do. And I was people pleaser to the max. So I created a lot of energetic charge inside of myself of shame, of guilt, of feeling not good enough, of feeling unworthy, of all of this stuff because I legit ignored my assignments. I didn't do them. I mean, okay, it's not like I didn't do all, like, but probably like 70% of them I seriously didn't do. I was there for the experience of life, not for the experience of school where I'm graded on what I can memorize. And to a lot of people, that's triggering. They're like, yeah, you did piss your life away, dude. What the fuck? Why would you waste that education? Why would you waste your parents' money? But again, it's like, it's not about the money. It's not about the education in terms of becoming a police officer. I gained so much life experience. I learned who I was through that process. Or at least more of who I was. It's only been, shouldn't say only, it's been the past. Since my daughter was born, really, that's when I've really started to hone in on who I am. Although the last 10 years I've been pursuing that and dismantling reality and systems in myself and learning about beliefs and learning about energy and learning about sound, frequency, vibration, and how all this stuff is here. How any of this is possible at all. How I'm able to wear 2 chains, you know? And this cool hat. Look at this hat, man. This thing is so fucking cool. This hat is so cool. Anyways. But ultimately, looking back at it, I needed that experience because now, next Wednesday, I'm signing the contract that's going to allow me to support my family in an overflow of abundance, that's going to allow me to be able to help so many people. And it's exactly what I want. It's not that I had to settle. It's I've created the exact opportunity that I want. But because of what had happened with the school and everything I've been carrying over for so many years, all of this forgetfulness and all of this shame and all of this guilt and all of this feeling like I've betrayed my parents and so on. And so that's what I went into the acupuncture to get rid of today. And the way I'm able to speak about dropping out of school and not caring about it, it's so easy now. I cannot express to you how different I feel talking about it, because before I was so scared for people to know that about me. Even though I would openly say it, there was still fear every time that I spoke it. But now I'm going to release this to the world, and I'm simply okay with the fact that that was my past. That was who I was. And I don't choose to look at it like I wasted any time at all, because then I would have to view myself, a part of myself, as a waste of time. But no, I loved who I was back then. I loved the experiences that I had and the friends that I made and the things that I learned and the things that I did that were probably really stupid at the time, you know? And you know what's funny as well is that the lady who I did the retreat center with, or the lady that I did the acupuncture with, she also wants to start a retreat center that will evolve into the future version of humanity, you know, an example of how we can live on this planet as communities. And it's like, all right, well, because I never settled for anything less than exactly what I want, now another person who hosts retreats, who knows so many people, she flat out told me she might actually become a part of the retreat as a sound healer and a couple other things. She's telling me, I know so many people and this is my vision, and one of the things, coming back full circle, because I said I had an experience where I was thinking, oh, I should have said this instead. She had said that, she was talking about her vision about the retreat center in Costa Rica, and she says, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen. And I stopped and I said, are you kidding me? Of course. Do you know who you're talking to? And, after I said, we need to sit down and we need to talk because, and sorry, that's where it ended. I didn't say anything more than that. But then I was thinking back and I was like, no, why did you say something? Why don't you ask her and help her discover why she has that doubt and help her heal? But then, well, why am I taking on the perspective of I needed to help her? She's not helpless. She can do it by herself, and she didn't ask me to reveal anything to her. And but then see, there's this whole train, right, of doubting who I just was, instead of just accepting that that's what came out of me at the time. And what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with it at all, unless I decide that I've made a mistake, unless I decide that I wasn't good enough in that moment. But why would I do that? Why not just carry on with my day? But then these fears come up of, well, maybe if I said that, maybe she won't want to talk to me, or maybe because I said that, she thinks I'm egotistic or whatever. And then it's like, dude, settle down, man. You don't need to put up this facade of being perfect. You know that you've got a lot left to learn. You know that you've got a lot more to discover about yourself and about life, and that's okay. That's okay for every single one of us. We don't have to beat ourselves up for choosing what we want. I wanted to say that in the moment. Was it perfect? Maybe not. But I chose to say it, so I'm gonna love that I said it instead of hating on myself for it. And it's interesting, right? Being self-aware, I catch myself doing these things all the time. But I don't just notice it and do nothing about it. I notice it and then I transform myself, and that's the key. What's crazy is that I'm gonna go and I'm gonna sign this deal next week, and I'm living in my truck right now. Tell me what's possible and what's not possible. I'm living in my truck. I walked into that meeting with my dirty shorts on from work, haven't showered, haven't shaved in a week, stinking. I got my work shirt on still. I got my hat on. It's all dirty. I'm all filthy. I got black shit all over my face. And I actually made a video before I went in saying exactly that. And I showed my outfit and I'm like, look, you don't need to walk into a business presentation with a suit on. Who the fuck cares what you wear? It's about who you are. It's about what value you're providing. It's not about what clothing you show up in. But we have this idea that we need to show up in some perfect way that fits this niche and this perfect way, and that's what I have to be in order to be successful over there. But then you've just created another limitation for yourself. I walked in there, I was filthy, I was stinky, I was not even shaved for a whole week, man. I was looking rough. But it didn't matter, because I created this opportunity out of full alignment with who I am. And it's who I am that had become so attractive to the opportunity, not what I was wearing, not how I appeared, but who I was inside, who I am inside, the energy that I emit, the love that I give others, the smiles that I can bring on people's faces, the jokes that I can make, the willingness to give a hand to somebody, you know, and the rest of who I am. That's what created the opportunity, and I'm so grateful that I can sit on this pile of dirt right now knowing that I am going to go and make a shit ton of money to fix my family's financial situation. And I didn't have to succumb to any systems. I didn't have to succumb to some bullshit job for the next 40 years of my life, my time, my experience of humanity. I'm going to be sitting behind a desk or rotting under the sun doing carpentry. And again, I apologize if I offended you. The carpenters I'm working with right now are fucking great people, man. One of the guys, he took me in for a week and let me stay on his couch for a week, and I'm so grateful for that. They're great people, and I have so much fun with them every day. They're honestly a great group of guys. I don't mean to insult anyone. I'm just speaking from my own perspective. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be baked under the sun every day and have to work in the fucking winter outside. I don't want to have to sit behind some desk. I want to do what I want to do, and I deserve to do that, and so do you. Your true passion, do you know what it is? See, that's one of the things is we think that we want things, but we don't do the self-discovery to realize what it is that we do want. You know how many things I started and failed at and quit and moved on from because I realized that it wasn't for me? Man, I've had like 20 jobs. I've been a door-to-door salesman. I've been a carpenter. I've been a commercial building maintenance manager. I played the role of, I guess you could say, that's what I mean when I say I've been a telecommunications sales agent. I worked at a gas station. I worked at the beer store. I worked at a lumber yard. I worked at a restaurant, for God's sakes. Like there's so many different things that I've done, and each moment of it, going to school, all of these things were showing me what it is that I actually feel that my heart is in love with. And when I found out it's not for me, redirection. Okay, well, where do I go now? To the next aligned step. You deserve the life that you want. You deserve to live the life of your passions. It's such bullshit that we have to live working for 40, 60 years of our lives, of our time, our human experience, feeding the corporate machine, feeding the system of the government, paying taxes to a government that actually doesn't give a shit about you at all, and uses your taxes in ways you don't even want them to be used? Why the fuck are they taxing us anyways? Like, if we really open up our minds and think about the future of humanity in the next 1,000 years, because we are on this track as a species, I don't care how much they put it in the news and how afraid people are of what future is coming, dystopia is coming, totalitarianism, communism, it's coming, it's crushing us. No, it's fucking not, because the human spirit is stronger than all of that, and I exist. I exist. And there is not a goddamn thing on this planet that's going to stop me other than death from continuing on with my passion, continuing on with my message, and reaching the masses. There's no fucking way that I'll be stopped. Even if you do kill me, I'm online. My stuff exists. The people that I have impacted, they will continue on after me, and they will change the world. I don't even need to be here at this point anymore because of the way I've changed people's lives. But I'm alive. I'm a living legend. Watch me in the next 10 years what I'm going to do on this planet. It's going to blow your fucking mind, and timestamp this. Timestamp this moment in history when I said this. Why play small? Why not dream as big as you possibly can? And why not act in the way that that person would act? Why not take the steps that that person would take? If it's possible for you to make the decision out of the place of that person, then becoming that person must be a possibility. Like how could it be any other way? And if it is that way, which it is, that means that you can be exactly who you think you can be. That means that those visions that you have of yourself under the spotlight, singing and really filling your heart with as much passion as you can and releasing that to the world. That's possible. 100% possible. And in fact, if that's the vision that you continue to get, that might be what you're destined for. So will you let fear stop you? Will you let fear stop you? Fuck, will you let the opinions of other people stop you? Will you let your past stop you? Or will you just say to yourself one day, I'm going to make the change. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to start investing in myself. I'm going to start buying better foods. I'm going to start drinking better water. Kangen water, by the way. If you need a machine, let me know. I'm going to start doing more meditations. I'm going to start visualizing that person. I'm going to start writing that person into my existence. I'm going to start exercising. What does that person do? What does that person do at this next moment? How does that person perceive life? How can I start to perceive life like that? How can I start to be more excited and more joyful in my day? How can I start to make decisions out of what feels aligned? Even if you're at work, it's not like there's some sort of cutoff. You're still alive. You're still living your life. You're just living it there at the moment because you're choosing to do it, which is important to note, is that you're always choosing it. It's always a choice, my friend. You're not enslaved to anything. It is all a choice. And so even in those moments where, say, you are at work and you hate your job, well, you're not hating your job. You're hating your life. Because your job, the possibility of it cannot exist without you and your consciousness observing that you are doing that. So if you're observing your life and this job, they're one and one. If you're observing this job as something that your life, it just sucks and you're drained from it and it's just destroying you, well, then that's exactly what's happening to your life. It's not just your job. So even in those moments where you're there, you can still choose, okay, even though I'm going to go make a coffee right now and I do this every day, how can I make it more enjoyable for myself to go do it? Maybe I skip down the hallway a little bit. Maybe I throw an extra shot of espresso in there today. Whoa. Maybe I throw an extra sugar cube in there. Wouldn't recommend sugar though. And make sure your coffee is mold free, my friend. Make sure that water also isn't tap water that you ruin it with. Some health tips, because it's life changing, I'll tell you that much. And like, see there, as I say that, I recognize that there was a moment where I felt a little arrogant. And that's okay. Maybe my delivery could be better, but I'm showing up as I am. I'm showing up as the best possible version of me that I can create in this moment. So even if I did think back, I feel like I might have been arrogant there, well, why am I judging myself? Let's let that go and let's just continue on. You can be happy anywhere that you are because it's not about your outside circumstances. Like, dude, I'm living in my truck. I'm separated from my family right now, and here I am giving back to the community of Earth. And here I am sitting on this pile of dirt and having a great fucking day. Even though the circumstances of my life currently are ones that most people wouldn't be able to fight their way through. Most people, they would have to fight their way through it. Versus handling it with ease and grace and learning every bit of wisdom that I possibly could and creating a better version of myself throughout the experience of being separated from my family, of being somebody who's living in their truck at the moment. You know, it's all good. It's all fine. It's all just life unfolding as it is because of the choices that you make. And am I choosing to be separated from my family? Absolutely not. And then you might ask, well, why are you? And that's a great question. I don't have all the answers, man. And I'm figuring it out the best that I can, but I know for sure as shit, my friend, that I created the opportunity to free myself financially, to free my life, and to be with my family again. And it's not because I surrendered to anything other than the current of life itself, the current of who I want to become. Yeah, I think that was pretty cool. Yeah, there's a plane. Just gonna put that in my pocket.